Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Cassie. I talk about video games, do video game reviews, unboxings, pickups, and all sorts of other video game related topics. Today I want to go over my top 5 games from 2023. This year has been kind of crazy with releases. It's one of the craziest years in gaming, I think. But I just kind of want to go from 5 to 1 in my rankings of video games that I've played through this year and really enjoyed. Of course, there's, so many this year that I've not played. And then probably want to give a couple of shout outs to a couple of ones that I think are worth noting as well. And then just kind of go over the ones that I've missed and the ones I have not gotten around to. And the ones that I just feel like maybe didn't necessarily need to be there for whatever reasons. And then I will talk about Game Club as well. It's our Game of the Month club on Facebook, like book club. And then go over that and go over what I'm playing this week. I work retail, so I don't really get a lot of gaming in on the weekends. So I just kind of, on Friday, I just kind of start with like what I'm planning to play throughout the rest of the week. And that's going to be this video. So let's start off with my top 5 games of 2023. I'm going to go down the list from 5 to 1. My 5th one is Pikmin 4. I think this game gets overlooked a lot, mainly because maybe because it's a real-time strategy game and not everybody has kind of like the patience or like want to play strategy games, I've found. But I mean, Pikmin's really, really cool. I've loved Pikmin since GameCube. I haven't really played 2 and 3, but I did play a lot of 1 back in the GameCube days. And I decided I would get Pikmin 4. This one's a little bit different because you don't have Olimar as the guy that you're controlling. You're actually controlling your own character that you kind of created. And you crash land on this planet, and Olimar has gone missing. So you're actually going to go rescue him. There is like a dog that you can use that you can carry the Pikmin on. These Pikmin are like little minions. They each are different colors, and the different colors have different abilities. So you can pretty much, so say there's a blue Pikmin. A blue Pikmin can swim. It's a water element. So you can use the water Pikmin to kind of like get things out of the water. The other Pikmin can't swim, but once you start gaining more abilities, you can put them on the back of the dog and the dog can swim. So you can still get across the water with the dog and have the Pikmin on the back. And you're just trying to get like through each area, trying to cure all these other lost kind of like astronauts, but you're all like really tiny people in an oversized world also. So like if you kind of like pan out of the environment and pan the camera out, you can kind of see that like maybe you're in an aquarium. If you're like you may be in like a fish tank or like a house or something. So I kind of like these types of games where, or anything that like where you're like kind of in an oversized world, like say like Toy Story or A Bug's Life, or of course you got Pikmin, you've got Tinykin, which was a great game from last year. Definitely check that out. But it's just, I don't know, it's a joy to play, and I really enjoyed it a lot. I have not gone back because after you finish the game, there's actually more things that unlock. There's extra missions in an extra area that unlocks. So I need to go back and finish those. But yeah, definitely check out Pikmin. Don't sleep on Pikmin. This one is quite a bit easier to play. Some of the other Pikmin had really restrictive time constraints, so you really had to kind of strategize what you're going to do for that day, because once it hits nighttime, there's a lot of enemies that come out, and it can get really hectic and kind of scary. And you're like rushing to get things done. So it's a little more lenient on that. So it makes it a little bit easier to play than some of the others. It doesn't matter if you start out with Pikmin 1. You can go back to Pikmin 1 after you play Pikmin 4. It's not really going to make a big difference. Yeah, definitely check them out. My number 4 is Cocoon. This was published by Annapurna Interactive. It's an indie game, and it's from the creators of Inside and Limbo. And they also did Somerville, and it's just basically Playdead employees. I don't know if these people actually worked on Somerville or not, but I know that previous Playdead employees worked on Somerville. But anyway, Cocoon is just an amazing isometric puzzle game where you play as kind of like I don't know if it's a cicada. I think it's a cicada. And you're collecting these orbs, and these orbs kind of take you to different, kind of transport you to different areas. And you're kind of manipulating the environment and switching between these areas, these different pathways with the orbs that kind of like transfer you into these different sections. And it's really interesting, and the sound design is really, really nice. The visuals are outstanding, and the puzzle aspect of it is actually really good. It's a very good puzzle game. I think it's better than Inside and Limbo in that sense. It's quite a bit of a different game from what they've previously done, because usually they do the 2D side scrollers with like puzzle elements, and then but Cocoon is, it's just like this 3D isometric type game, and it's really hard to describe, but it's definitely worth playing. I'd say it's probably about 6 hours long, 6 to 7, depending on what you do. There's more things to unlock and like things to find, so it could take you longer, but it's on Game Pass, and it's definitely worth playing. My third game would be Hi-Fi Rush. This was a Shadow Drop from, I think it was the Xbox developer showcase or whatever they had. This was like early in like January, February, I think. No, maybe it was January, when they had the showcase, and it came out of nowhere. Nobody even knew like where this came from or what it was. I don't think anybody knew about it besides the devs. And it's from the same people that made The Evil Within, which is just crazy to me because it's a complete opposite. Because The Evil Within is very dark and very gruesome and gory, and Hi-Fi Rush is like this very vibrant, heartfelt cartoon that just makes you feel really good. It's a breath of fresh air playing this. It's a rhythm-based game, a rhythm-based action game, and some of it kind of reminds me of Scott Pilgrim. I don't really think anybody else said anything about it, but just because you're going through the levels and there's these big bosses that you have to fight in this corporation, basically. And the music's really cool. The entire world's like a metronome, so everything in the environment is bouncing along to the beat, and so that kind of helps you with your rhythm as well. Even if you're not good with rhythm games, there's actually settings you can change to make it more accessible to you. But it's outstanding, and the animations are like next level. Like, I wish this was an animated series on like some platform, Netflix or wherever, because it'd be great. Yeah, it's really, really awesome. Don't sleep on Hi-Fi Rush, and that just kind of goes to show, and I think this is the same way I felt with last year. You know, a lot of people say, you know, Xbox doesn't have any games, and maybe they are slacking on their AAA first-party games, but some of their non-AAA games have been really, really good. I think last year, I mean, we had Pentiment, which was another like double A. It wasn't an indie necessarily. It kind of looked like an indie, but it was Obsidian that did it. That was a phenomenal game. I think that's my favorite game from last year. And there were a lot of games last year that I think I actually had a bigger list, but I've also played through more 2022 games this year than I did last year. So most of them being indies. You know, you've got Vampire Survivors and all those, and I'll talk about that later. You know, I'll do another video after the end of the year to kind of give you a list of every single game that I've completed this year and my thoughts on them, which I'm at 46 now. I've never played that many games in a year before. I think my previous one was like 23. I think that's the max I've ever done, 23, which is just, I don't know. I guess it's different when you live out in the middle of nowhere and don't hang out with people anymore. So, because that's what my life used to be. So, which will probably change again when I move again and find a better place to live. Because, yeah, I like hanging out with people, but I also like playing video games. So, yeah, anyway, don't sleep on some of these like smaller titles, because just because they're small and maybe lower budget, it does not mean anything at all. Some of them are great. Some of them are better. Actually, a lot of them lately have been better. So, yeah. And think about it this way, too. I mean, Minecraft started off as an indie. I think Fortnite was not really... I think they were an independent. But I don't really know. Anyway, yeah. You just never know. They could be great. Rocket League, you know? I don't know. Anyway, and then you've got number 2. This got a lot of hate, and I understand, you know, like everybody's like opinions on it and whatever, but these developers worked really hard, and it's Hogwarts Legacy. I have been a fan of Harry Potter since it came out, and ironically, Harry Potter came out when I turned 11, which is funny. I didn't get a letter, but Hogwarts Legacy gave me a letter. It just made me feel like I actually like finally like got to go to Hogwarts, and the design of it, they really put a lot of thought, and they really did a lot of research on Hogwarts and Hogsmeade and just like the surrounding area, and it was really beautiful. I thought it was really cool. And gameplay wise, yes, it got repetitive at points, but I didn't think it was bad. I didn't really have a lot of issues. Sometimes it got a little stuttery in some parts, but the flying on your broom was very smooth throughout the world. I thought it ran very smoothly. Some of the side quests were repetitive, but I didn't like hate them, and I had a better time with them than I did with Final Fantasy 16 side quests. So I don't know. You know, like, whatever. I thought it was a really good game, and I would like to give, like, you know, a shout out to the devs on this, because they really dug deep into the lore of like Harry Potter and just made it really, really cool. And I think for what people were wanting for like a Harry Potter world, like open world game, like they really nailed it. And yes, it could use improvements and stuff, but this was their first big game like this. So like give them some slack, you know, like I thought it was really good. And the story actually was pretty decent too. I wouldn't say it was like amazing, but it was good. And I hope they get to make another one. Obviously, the sales, they have huge sales, and I know that sales don't mean everything. There's been games that have had a lot of sales success, but didn't really rate very well. But I think Hogwarts Legacy overall did get a pretty decent score. It was in the 80s for Metacritic. I think it's just, all this other stuff. But I'm not going to go into that. But yeah, so I liked it. And now it's on Switch. And I don't know how it plays on Switch. Some people says it plays fine, but I personally wouldn't get it on the other systems if you have them. And my number one is Marvel's Spider-Man 2. I finished this several days ago. I don't know. It's been maybe like 4 or 5 days or so since I finished this and platinumed it. And oh my gosh, it's so good. Like, I really liked Spider-Man 2018, but I had a tremendous amount of glitches in 2018. I also really liked Miles a lot. I think I liked it a little bit better as far as the story went. But Spider-Man 2, like, oh my goodness gracious. Like, how could they get to be this good? Like, there were so many moments that I was just like, oh my God, I cannot believe they did this. And I feel like I cannot even like talk about it because everything's a spoiler in this game. And it's just, some of the things is just so crazy, like the way that they've incorporated like other things. I can't say it because it's gonna get spoiled, but it's amazing, and check it out. And they've really like stepped it up to the next level with Spider-Man 2. It's just incredible, and I can't wait to see what else they'll do. And I mean, there's nods to other characters, and I just think that they may be doing other games besides Wolverine too. So I'm not going to really go into that either, but yeah, it's incredible. The combat's much more fluid. I think it just makes a lot of sense. It doesn't feel like button mashing anymore. It feels more like there's a strategy to it. The story's great. The pacing's great. The mini games were fun. I felt like it was less tedious. Like, I think I had like maybe 6 to 8 trophies left when I finished the game, and it took me less than an hour to finish it and platinum it. And the first one, I could not say the same. It took me a lot longer. And everybody's saying that this is short. It took me 35 hours. And yes, I do go around, and I don't fast travel everywhere because I like swinging through New York. Because, I mean, it's there. I'm going to use it, right? The fast travel is amazing, though, because it's just a quick pop-in. I think that's the quickest fast travel, the best fast traveling system I've seen in a game. I think that they've gone from being like a B plus tier with their games to being like an S. This was an S. I gave it like a 9.5, but there's very, very, very small issues. Like, I have not had any like major glitches like I did in the first Spider-Man game, which kind of took me back from, rating it high. But I don't know. It's such a good game. And if you're like, even if you're just kind of like a Marvel fan, or even if you're just kind of into Spider-Man, like, I think this game will like make you more into Spider-Man. I've always, Spider-Man's always been kind of like my favorite Marvel character. And to be quite honest, I think I'm starting to like Miles more. I just really like Miles, and Harry's amazing in this game too. I think this is my favorite version of Harry. Yeah, definitely check it out for sure. There's a couple of games that I would like to shout out as well that I think are worth noting, and it may be really like 8 total, I guess, but I'm not going to do a top 8 because that's like MySpace taste, But Jusant was amazing. This was a climbing game from Don't Nod. I really liked that game a lot. I don't know that I would like put it in the S tier that I'd rank the rest of these games, but it was a really fun game. Vinba was also amazing. This was an indie game, like a kind of like a cooking narrative simulator game sort of thing, but it was like only an hour and a half long, and had it been longer, I think I would have put it in my top. But yeah, it's a really incredible game with a really good story, very heartfelt, and maybe you want to like start cooking a little bit. And then of course, Sea of Stars. I have not finished Sea of Stars. I got, I think, about halfway, and I have not gone back to it because there was just so many games coming out, and I just couldn't really get around to it. But Sea of Stars is a really, really good RPG, and definitely check it out. It's on PS Plus and it's on Game Pass, so why not? I hope to go back into it at some point. It's just it's gonna be a little bit because there's too big of a backlog really for this year. It's just crazy. And I mean, I've got backlogs from 1997, so I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I think that's really it for this year, I think. Of course, I've only played a little bit of Baldur's Gate 3. I can see why people really like it a lot, but I think now that I have a PC, which I'm going to set this up, and hopefully I'll start working on my videos a little bit more, and it may not, because right now I'm doing it on my phone, and I don't like doing it on my phone. It's a pain. I have a laptop, but it's not very good, so I don't even bother with trying to edit on there. And yeah, I'm just waiting for my desk and waiting for a webcam, and hopefully I'll get a better setup and start doing more things. I'm pretty excited for that. But yeah, I plan on playing Baldur's Gate 3 on PC. I have it on PS5, but it feels like it's a PC game for me. So that's what I'm going to do. Even though I spent $60 on it on PS5, I guess I'll do it again or wait for it to go on sale, a year from now, if it does. But yeah, Dave the Diver. That's going to be my first. Yeah, so I'm gonna start doing Steam, and maybe I'll start streaming some games. I don't know. I use PC for a lot of simulating games or RTS games. There's certain games that I prefer to play on PC versus console, and then vice versa. So it really just depends. Get back into The Sims because I have never played The Sims 4, and that's just crazy to me because I've always been a Sims person, and how long has The Sims 4 been out? A long time. So they're probably almost to Sims 5 at this point, but whatever. I play a lot of Civ. Yeah, that's gonna be cool. Yeah, so Alan Wake 2, obviously I've not gotten around to that because I'm playing Alan Wake 1 right now. So, yeah, at some point, hopefully I'll get to that. And then there's also, what else? A Super Mario Wonder. I haven't gone around to that yet. I don't have it yet. I have not also played Tears of the Kingdom because I have not finished Breath of the Wild. And then Resident Evil 4, Dead Space, Metroid Prime. I haven't gotten around to those either. I played a little bit of Dead Island 2 and a little bit of Jedi Survivor, but I've not gone back to them yet. So I enjoyed what I played, but there was just too much coming out at that point. So yeah, I'll get around to those. I played through the entirety of Final Fantasy 16, and while there were amazing moments in that game, there were also some not amazing moments in the game. So I don't know, it brought it down for me a lot. The side quests, even though they were like important to the story, they really added a lot. The actual side quest, the actual activity, the gameplay of it was just, God, it was so boring. It was terrible. Like, I don't know. And coming from like a director that does an MMO, you would think that there would have been a little more to it. The crafting was awful. The hunts weren't great either. Like, I don't know. Like, I had a lot more fun doing the side activities in 15, like a ton more fun. I did not want to stop playing 15's like side quests. I didn't really want to stop playing that game at all, but I had a lot of inconsistencies with 16. Although the icon fights were amazing, the soundtrack was amazing, character development, you had a really, really great like active time lore was a really cool system that I think they should implement in other games as well. But it's just, the other stuff just really brought it down for me a lot. So yeah, unfortunately, I can't put that in my top for that reason. And I know a lot of people really like that game a lot, and I'm not saying it's a bad game, but it's just, there were things I just really did not like. So, I mean, I really did like the game, like the story and like the characters, and it's just the gameplay parts of it. And it is a game after all. And while I do like narrative games, I enjoy walking simulators, whatever, but I feel like Final Fantasy, not just for the story, but it's also known for its gameplay. And it just did not hit for me in some parts. So yeah, that's why that's not included. That's really it for my talking about 2023 games. And yeah, I'm gonna give like a list of kind of, the games that I've played through this year. That's gonna be probably after the end of the year, just in case if I add any to the end. You never know if I'll just like New Year's Eve like play through a game again. But yeah. Anyway, on to Game Club. So Game Club is our Game of the Month club on Facebook, and it's like a book club but for video games. And then, every 10th of the month we start a poll or a thread for people to like vote for games that they want to add to the wheel. And when the wheel spins, which is spun yesterday, and the winner for January is Signalis. Signalis is this isometric survival horror game that takes a lot of inspiration from Resident Evil series, the original ones. It's come up in a lot of top 10s for 2022. A lot of people talking about it as like one of the best indie games of last year, which, yes, last year the indie game was like really strong, honestly. There's a lot of indie titles that I've played this year from last year that I was just like, wow. Last year was really strong with its indies, for sure. Even just like non-AAA, like AA games were good too. So, yeah. I'm excited to play this because it's been on my radar for a while. Sadly, it's no longer on Game Pass, so I'm going to have to buy it. But maybe it'll go on sale at the end of the year or something. But yeah. Right now we're playing Alan Wake and we're playing Blue Dragon. We have a game of the quarter as well, which that thread is up right now. So if you want to go in and get your votes in, join the club. I will actually put a link in the description. So check that out. If you're on Facebook, definitely go join and be a part of our group. There's a lot of games that I've come across that I didn't think I would ever even touch, like some games I had never even heard of, and they ended up being my favorite games. So definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun. We've been doing this for, I don't know, like 7-8 years, something like that now. So we've got a long list of games that we've previously played through, so you can play through those as well. Look at our old list. You get points, you get extra points. The extra points give you, we call them one-ups. Those are extra votes for the next thread when you get a vote. So, and those can stack, so, you know, you add extra votes, you can get your game in to win, you know. We're also doing an end of the year drawing too for those who like actually complete a game within the time frame of that month. So if somebody completes Alan Wake by the end of this month, they'll get entered into the drawing. The same with Blue Dragon as well. It just has to be in that time. And it'll be like Nintendo, Steam, PlayStation, Xbox gift card of their choice. So and Game of the Quarter is up right now, so definitely check that out. It's a game that we play for 3 months at a time because we just wanted an excuse to be able to play a game that's longer than 20 hours long. So that way everybody can chime in and play a game that's longer. We put it over 3 months period. So so what I'm playing this week, I'm playing Alan Wake. This is our Game Club game, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm playing the remastered version on PS4, the PS5 enhanced, but I'm not typically into survival horror games, which is kind of odd because I like horror movies a lot, but when it comes to horror games, I don't know if it like spooks me out. Like I don't get spooked out by the movies at all. But maybe it's because it's a different perspective. Like you're like part of the game that it makes it creepy. So I don't typically like these, but I really like Alan Wake so far. And the narrative is really interesting. And there's a lot of references to Stephen King. And I'm a big Stephen King fan. I really like reading his books. The Stand and Fairy Tale are actually my favorite books from him so far. And I like the movies as well, but I really like his writing, and the game actually kind of reminds me, the narrative kind of reminds me of his writing. So I like it. It's pretty cool. I've not played Control or any of the other games. So I know Control is, directly related to it. So I plan on playing Control soon as well, which we have already played in Game Club. So I never did get around to it. But now that I'm playing Alan Wake, once I finish that, I will move on to Control. Maybe not immediately, but like at some point after, between Alan Wake 1 and 2. I'm also playing Mass Effect. This is a slow burn. I'm in the Citadel right now, and while like the music is really good, and I really kind of like the lore and stuff of it, but the gameplay is just really slow. It's taking a minute. I'm gonna push myself through it just because I really want. Maybe it's FOMO, but it is FOMO. But I don't know. I know that people like really, really like Mass Effect a lot, so I'm gonna try my hardest to play through it. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's just, and it's another thing. Like I'm really into sci-fi when it comes to movies and like some books. Like Alien, Blade Runner, and Star Wars: Empire Strikes Back are my top 3 favorite movies. But for some reason, some of the games I don't really enjoy, like Mass Effect is slow. Starfield is slow. Like, I don't know what it is, but yeah, I'm going to push through it. I also started playing Valiant Hearts: The Great War on the Nintendo Switch, and I really like this a lot. It's got a lot of history to it. It's about World War One. And it's like kind of like a puzzle game. And it looks like it's going to be really sad. But I really like the visuals a lot. And the story. You play as like different characters going through World War One. It's like this family. And it's it's really cool. It's like kind of like a 2D like side scroller, but you're trying to get through this like platform, and there's like different things, different objects you can find, and like, you know, you gotta like throw a rock at the rope or whatever to bring the ladder down, or you know, get the dog to like dig up something so you can throw that something at something to kind of get around like the enemies and stuff. And but it's kind of hard to explain, but I really like games with like history in them. Like I really liked Pentiment a lot. I like Assassin's Creed a lot, at least like some of them, and like Civilization and stuff. So yeah, I'm glad I started playing this, and I just needed to give my Switch love, because after seeing the year in review on Switch, I actually, PlayStation 5, I had like 425 hours on PS5. Xbox, I had 445 hours. And then on Switch, I had like 120. So it said that I had not touched my Switch since August. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's so sad. So I really just need to give more equal love to my Switch. So that's what I plan on doing. I'm also playing Contrast. This is on Xbox Series S on Game Pass that I'm playing. This one's interesting. It's like you're playing as this girl's like imaginary friend, and she can kind of manipulate the shadows, and so it goes from 3D to 2D, to where like if there's like, say there's a balcony up above that you need to get to, she can actually like switch to a shadow, and if there's like a shadow of a staircase or something, she can kind of walk up that shadow staircase and get onto that balcony. It's different. It's a little weird, but it's not supposed to be a very long game, so I know some people really like it. It's okay for me. The music's really good, and kind of has like kind of like a 1920s, 30s vibe to it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. That's what I'm playing this week, and I may finish Contrast. I may finish Alan Wake, because I could not put that down. So yeah, I'm on the second chapter right now of 6, so we'll see. And Contrast is only supposed to be like 3.5 hours or so, so I should finish it by the next video. Anyway, that's all I've got, and thank you for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.